Hey, we are here with Al Berlanga of the band Syrus, another wonderful band out of San Antonio, courtesy of the wonderful Rachel Martinez. How you doing, Al?
Man, brother, I am doing well. Thank you.
That's excellent. So, this is the first time on the Bearded Clam Show, so introduce yourself, your band, and give us a rundown on what you're all about.
You bet. Hey, my name's Al Berlanga. I'm the guitarist and founder of Syrus back in the early 80s, 1984 to be exact. Me, along with a co-founder, John Costello, had a good run in the 80s, and then, the whole scene kind of cracked out. Everybody knows that, came in and just kind of wiped us out. But, hey, we're back at it again. 2014, we decided some of our other friends and some other bands were putting out records and playing new shows, and we kept getting asked, why not us? And we kind of did the roundabout with the guys and wanted to do it, and that's what we did. And so our initial goal was just to re-record all of the old demo tunes and get them on a proper record. That's what we did. Yeah, that's what we did. But then we started getting offers for some shows, and so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Wow. Okay. So, wow, this is it's like a comeback story.
Kind of, yeah. We've always had, the Texas metal scene in the 80s was vibrant and strong and heavy, and you got bands like Watchtower and Militia and Juggernaut, Syrus, and a host of others, including us.
And then the big one in the 90s, Pantera.
Then, the Pantera out of Texas, out of Arlington, I believe. So they were kind of, they kind of kept the scene going.
Right.
But from a local standpoint, between here and Austin, it kind of petered out a little bit.
Right. So how many years? How many years were you down?
Oh man, 20, at least 20.
Wow, and it never left you. The itch, the desire, never left in that 20 years.
It didn't. All the guys in the band continued to play in a variety of different ways. Some played in paper bands. Some we had a couple of guys move to California. One moved to Seattle.
Right.
So they were all involved in music one way or another. So it's the vibe was always still there. We might have been doing some other things just to kind of keep the chops up.
Right.
But the old heavy thing. Once you're molten metal, man, there's no going back.
Yeah, that's true. Here in the greater Nashville area, a lot of people, like full-time pro musicians, they'll play the country during the day, but at night the beast comes out. You know what I mean?
Whatever it takes to keep your chops up. And I got to tell you, when you start playing, I did that. I didn't play country, but I played in cover bands for about 15 years, and earned a steady paycheck doing that. And
right.
But it forces you to learn how to play different ways and different styles, and really it kind of helps out your metal chops. You get a lot more dynamic and a lot more intricate because you have to play some lighter stuff and some country and some dance and some other stuff.
Yeah, here in Tennessee, I've noticed, like, my guilty pleasure outside of metal would probably be bluegrass. Bluegrass is
makes sense.
Bluegrass is acoustic speed metal. I swear to you.
It sure is, man. I've seen those guys. It's intense. It's intense, man.
Yeah, there are these guys like in their like late 60s, 70s, like ripping it up on a guitar and banjo and all that. Man, it's incredible. And a mandolin, drunk off their asses. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It really is. It's really crazy, man. And then here in Texas, we had guys like Brad Paisley, country guys that are doing that. That speedy country lick stuff on a telly. It's incredible. Yeah. So it can really boost your chops, man.
I tell a lot of people, once you think you're a good guitar player, go jam with some bluegrass cats and see how good you really are.
Yeah, it'll be a kick in the pants.
Yeah, you find yourself. And lately here, there's been a lot of influx of people from L.A. here to Nashville, like a large amount. And it's funny because the music scenes are way different. Out there, drug addictions are okay. Here it's like must have pro everything attitude, be humble and all that stuff. So it's funny when you get these LA guys that get here and they got all this attitude, and all this ego. And they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna teach you country bumpkins how to play guitar." To get up there and they suck.
It's country right now. Country is just huge all over the country, man.
Well, country pays the bills right now. Country's really the only music making money right now.
And it's huge, but it's funny because country has shifted in its paradigm, and it's still country, but it's a lot more rock and roll country.
It's 80s rock. It's 80s soft rock is what country is today.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So they're still wearing the boots and tore up jeans and a cowboy hat, but now they got sleeveless shirts. They're wearing patches. They got little blings and tattoos. So really,
the Daisy Dukes and cowboy boots. I don't know who told them that looked good, but it really doesn't, especially on dudes.
Yeah.
Girls can pull it off, but dudes, that's a whole different parade,
Yeah.
You get down to Nashville during the CMA Fest, you get down there and you see like a whole group of dudes with cowboy boots and Daisy Dukes. It's like, wrong.
And can you really? I can name the one guy that kind of started the shift, and that was Garth Brooks with his live shows.
Yeah.
He didn't. They didn't dress rock and roll. They still wore the cowboy hat and the matching colored outfits and stuff. But their live shows were like rock shows.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a huge Kiss fan.
And then you start to have guys like Kenny Chesney, wearing sleeveless and or the wife beater with the tight jeans and boots, and
Travis Tritt with the outlaw country.
Yeah, and or a guy like Keith Urban, a little bit of longer hair
and cocaine.
I guess that's why when you're married to a movie actress, right?
Well, it's I don't know if you're a fan of. There was a little project that the boys from Pantera did with David Allan Coe called Rebel Meets Rebel.
I think I might have heard of that, but
and they have a song called "Cowboys Do More Dope Than Rock and Rollers," and I'm here to tell you that is 100% true. Let me tell you, metalheads, you think you got a drug? You think you can hang with the drugs and alcohol? Come on down here and party with some of these country fucking artists. Let me tell you, they will smoke you under the table, drink you under the table, and then run your pockets when you're passed out.
Yeah, but today's hardcore metal guys, man, they drink. I don't know if they do a whole lot of drugs anymore. That whole
no, because they're not making any money for drugs.
Yeah, that whole heroin thing was all Guns N' Roses and Poison and all those guys making bucks, But
or getting it free. I mean,
or getting it free. Yeah.
We used to have a saying. Yeah. We used to have this little spiel that you knew how well your band was doing by what drugs are floating around. Because all bands start out with beer and weed, and then you get better weed and liquor. And then someone will come around with pills, but by the time heroin comes around, you're usually on your fourth album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, also, if you're a band, if you're Five Finger Death Punch or you're Disturbed or you're any one of these bands where your shows are tighter than shit, you can't do that on heroin.
No. Well, I don't know. Motley Crue did.
You might be able to do it on coke, but you can't do that shit on heroin, man.
Well, I've done coke. I've never done heroin. When I was a young kid, my grandfather took me on a little tour of Brooklyn where in the 80s when it was real bad, and he showed me, he said, "Look, if you want to do drugs, that's where you live." And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't like to live on a steam grate," So.
Yeah, I was just always worried to get my ass whooped by the old man, so I never had to worry about venturing into that end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes getting ass whippings will push you in the direction that they were giving you the ass whippings to stay away from. So
that's true.
When you get the rebel rock and roll attitude, like "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me," I got to see firsthand. My grandfather was like, he wasn't gonna beat my ass. He was just like, "Well, here's what happens if you do that," and that was better than any ass whipping ever.
Sometimes it didn't take an ass whipping. Sometimes it just took a look.
Yeah, exactly. You get your ass whipped enough, you're like, "Fuck you, I'm tough enough," I'll take your ass whipping. My son's at that point now, and he's what, 8? Ass whippings ain't nothing to him. So, well, anyway, back to your band there, Syrus. So you've been around since the 80s, and you had like numerous, according to your Facebook here, you've had numerous members. Who's your lineup now?
Right now, it's me and the other original guitar player, John, the founders. We're the founders. We're using our third drummer from that era. He came in around 87 or 88, 88, I think 89. Tony Ramos is our drummer. And we have a new singer. His name is Jeff D. He's been around for a little while. I mean, he's our age, but he kind of got started a little bit late in the scene.
Right. So sometimes that's better. His voice isn't probably blown out.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He hasn't blown out his voice or overabused it, so he's got a fresh approach as far as his vocal ability.
Tell him if he wants to keep it late till he's done, till he's done. Tell him he needs to see a vocal coach. Give him the right. James Hetfield.
Good, man.
James Hetfield wished he saw one back in the day.
Yeah. Well, our guy is not a growler either. So,
I think the growling era of metal should be done, because I forget what station I heard it on, but I heard this badass metal hardcore band, and their singer had quit in the middle of recording in the studio, and either the producer or somebody involved had 2 pit bulls and brought them into the studio and had them barking and growling, and then when they just mixed it, sliced it all up and made it fit, and those pit bulls were the best death metal vocals I've ever heard. Better than any human could ever be. It was on pitch. It sounded great. There was no studio tricks on it other than, slicing it up. But so I really think, and I've always thought a band with those gutter vocals, that if you can't understand what they're saying, then you know what? They don't really have anything to say.
Hey, there you go. There you go, man.
I mean, even Dio, when he would sing about dragons and stuff, he said it in such a way that you believed what he was saying. You're like, yeah, fucking man on the Silver Mountain, fuck yeah. Man, you get these bands that get incredible music and they're wonderful until the vocalist opens their mouth.
Right.
And then it's like,
let's face it, it's the front man. He's the front man. If people, you can have the world's greatest guitarist and the world's greatest drummer and the world's greatest bass player on stage, and maybe if you got a keyboard guy, the world's greatest keyboard guy. But when you get to the gist of the tune, it's what the singer is saying. Because nobody's going around humming a guitar solo.
Well, unless you're a guitar player, it's a very small audience. But I see what you're saying. It's like AC/DC sells way more records than Dream Theater,
Right.
So,
but that guy's an amazing vocalist, and the guy that we're using on bass, he's been around the scene for 30 years. I've known him for that long, but we traveled in different circles. We tried to get our original guy, Julio Paz, back involved, but he's kind of moved on to other things in life, and so we ended up with Lawrence, and Lawrence is good, and he's been involved in a few projects, still is. So that rounds up that lineup, Right. We've had a lot of guys in the band come filter through. I wouldn't say a lot, but maybe about 10 guys total. A couple of those guys went on to bigger and better things,
Yeah.
Ray Alder went on to, of course, he's been in Fates Warning for 20-something years,
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Pete Parrott as a bass player who played in Riot for a number of years on Leatherwolf. Mm-hmm. Mike, our original singer, he was in a band called Petting Zoo that almost became a Sony label artist. Mm-hmm. But that kind of fell apart. And so he's had some moderate success. But we've always had a real positive vibe back in the 80s when we were playing.
Right.
And we had a real strong German, Greek, Italian fan base. That's where a lot of our demos sold overseas. And it's funny because since we put out the CD, that's where a lot of our sales are coming from. And a lot of the reviews are coming from that. They're coming from that part of the world. So it's really
incredible.
Cool. I mean, it's like that's what I love. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm a United States guy for sure, but when it comes to musical trends,
Europe is still king for metal.
Yeah, those fans, they're fans for decades, if not generations. The U.S. you have these 5 to 7 year swings. One thing here is hot, and then eventually it all kind of like circular, and it comes back. But
grunge never happened in Europe.
Grunge never happened in Europe.
No, because the European fans were like, well, if you can't tune your instruments, I really can't listen to you.
Well, and let's face it, your goal in Germany is to sell 50,000 copies. That's goal. You got to sell 500,000 copies to be gold in the United States. So it's funny because I saw a little documentary on David Hasselhoff, the old Baywatch guy and Knight Rider.
Oh, he's huge in Germany.
Yeah, well, he's a singer too.
Yeah,
so,
he's like Frank Sinatra over there.
Yeah, he's going through his house and he's showing all his platinum and gold records from all over Europe. But it's funny because he's making and what's cool about the guy is he's kind of like parodying himself and he's making fun of himself. But he goes, look here, I got a gold record from I think it was the Netherlands, but he only had to sell like 5,000 copies.
He probably bought that himself.
So,
that's how the rappers do it. They buy all their own records. That way they make sure they're number one, and then they sell them again. Yeah.
Hey, man, it's a possibility, brother. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now, man, and we're just trying to push the album and records. We've gotten some real positive reviews so far, and we just got back from Chicago doing Legions of Metal with some really great bands, man, and Armored Saint and Diamond Head.
Now, are you doing all this? Are you doing all this independent, or do you have backing?
No, right now we're doing it all independent, and through a lot of just people that used to know who we are, and a lot of the bands that we play with are bands from that area too. We got Jason McMaster and his bands. Of course, he was in Watchtower. He's still actively involved in doing 2 or 3 projects, and there's some other guys that. So yeah, right now it's all independent. Hopefully, if the record, we're doing right now is just push the record. Do some of these gigs. We're going to be opening for Hellstar here next month, and also Takes Warning a little further down in August. But as time rolls and we start working on the second record, that's where we'll probably start looking for some professional backing,
right,
or representation, I should say, really, not backing, but representation.
Somebody with money.
Well, just somebody that can maybe do some of if things get a little bit larger in scope. We got somebody to handle it. Right now, I'm doing a lot of the business aspect of it. And another guy in the band's like doing a lot of the bookings,
Oh, there you go. As long as you're on the same sheet of music.
Once you get to a certain, once you get to a certain point, like any kind of tour, I don't want to have to deal with that on my own. We'd rather just have somebody do it for us and pay him, or give them a percentage.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's where we are right now, brother. That's about the gist of it. That's where we're at currently.
So now that you said you took all the demos from back in the 80s and you made a record out of all of them, and you're getting very good reception in Europe. What's next? The music video? What do you guys got coming up?
We're probably going to do a performance video, just so we can have it on YouTube and on the website. And if anybody gets a chance, they can go to the website. It's syraclassicmetal.com. We've got all kinds of history and photos and all kinds of stuff on there, and they can listen to the tunes too. But yeah, probably somewhere maybe in the fall we'll work on a performance video, and then just so people get a visual, as not just the oral, but a visual. And then I've already made plans with the guys, and we have 9 songs on the record, but we wanted to have 11, but we just ran out of time. When our first gig was scheduled in early February with Udo Dirkschneider, and we just ran out of time. We wanted to have a CD available for that gig, and so we ended up with 9 songs. Now some of the songs are long, so it's not, it's not like they're 9 short little songs, it is metal,
Oh, yeah.
and but this probably toward the end of the year, we've got 2 or 3 more that we weren't able to get on the record. We've got about 3 more that were never released, and of course, we'll do those with a new singer and everything, so they'll sound, it's going to have fresh, modern sound to it. And then we've got about 4 or 5 brand new songs that we'll bring to the table. So about a record of maybe 11 or 12.
So you're going to be looking for a different singer for that?
No. We're going to use our current guy, but because he's fresh and not, hasn't blown out his voice.
Oh yeah.
It'll make a difference versus say some of the demo recordings that we had back in the day. But that's the goal right now. So do some of these shows, maybe a performance vid in the fall, and then start working on that record at the end of the year. Have something out maybe February. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I mean, right now things are going well. I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood, you know.
Right.
But,
Excellent.
You know, and hey, let's not forget, man. It is a 30-year-old band, so we are kind of. I had one guy describe us as old camels, you know. But ain't no.
Hey, until the new generation starts making music as kick-asses from back then, fuck them.
Hey, I like the term, actually, old camels. We're not great yet, man, but, you know, it's starting to creep in. So, you know, most of us are in our 50s, yeah. So we're still young, man.
So you mentioned your website earlier. Do you have any other social media presence?
We do a Facebook. It's Syrus 2015. 2015 Syrus. I don't know the exact URL, but yeah, all it is Syrus Classic Metal at Facebook. You just have to type that in; it'll pop up the site. It's pretty active. A lot of members, a lot of followers, and of course, you know, anything we get new, like you know, magazine reviews, or show reviews, or any videos that you know, they'll see it on there. And then I like to try to direct everybody from there to the website, because the website will have lots of photos and lots of information.
Yeah,
definitely. All the tunes.
I like to think of the website as like the actual TV show, and then Facebook and all those other ones are like commercials. Yeah,
that's a perfect analogy, man. Listen, perfect. You know.
All right, well, we're getting ready to wrap this up. So before I can let you go, you got to give me a bumper though. So. And it'll go something like, "Hey, this is Albert Langa of Syrus, and you're listening to the Bearded Clam Show on metalheadradio.com."
Cool.
So whenever you're ready, brother.
Okay. Hey guys, this is Albert Langa from Syrus, and you're rocking on the Bearded Clam Show on Metalhead Radio. Did I get that right?
Yep, you sure did.
Okay, sorry about that, man. You want me to do it again?
Yeah, give it one more shot. See what we got.
All right.
When you're ready.
Radio. Okay.
When you're ready.
All right. Hey, metal rockers, this is Albert Lang from Syrus, man. Molten Metal on the Bearded Clam Show. Metalhead.com.
Excellent.
Tune in. Listen.
Excellent, brother. Hey, thanks for calling in. We want to give a great shout out and a big thank you to Rachel Martinez for setting this up.
Will do.
I know we already have your MP3s, so keep an eye out on the Facebook page, and you'll see a flyer for your air date.
Okay, cool. Hey, if you need anything, man, just give me a buzz.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks you for calling in. I had a great time. Make sure you go check out everything that has to do with Syrus, brothers. So that's enough. All right, take care, brother.
All right, thank you, buddy.
Bye.
This is DJ Nova telling you to tune in to the Bearded Clam Show Friday nights at 8 on metalheadradio.com. Come jam out with your clam out.